the White Lotus who conquered the world. Before the world knew his name, he was just a boy from Surin, a child from rural Thailand who did not grow up surrounded by luxury, fame, or comfort. In his world, Muay Thai was not just a sport, it was survival, it was discipline, it was a way to help the family, it was a way out. At only 8 years old, he began fighting in small rings in front of small crowds for small purses. But every kick, every knee, and every round was building something the world had not seen yet. Years later, that same boy would walk into Japan and shock the kickboxing world. He would become a two-time K1 World Max champion, carry Thai fighting culture into the global spotlight, and become one of the most recognizable Muay Thai fighters of all time. His real name is Buakaw Banchamek, but the world knows him as Buakaw, the White Lotus. A fighter who rose from the mud, survived the pressure, fought for his identity, and became more than a champion. He became a symbol. This is the story of Buakaw Banchamek, the White Lotus who conquered the world. From Surin, a boy fighting for a future. Buakaw Banchamek was born on May 8, 1982, in Surin province in northeastern Thailand. His real name is Buakaw Banchamek. Before the lights, before the stadiums, before Japan, before K1, and before the world knew his name, he came from a rural part of Thailand where life could be difficult and opportunities were limited. Buakaw's story is not the story of a fighter who discovered Muay Thai as a hobby. It is the story of a child who entered the ring early because fighting could become a path. In Thailand, especially in rural areas, Muay Thai has always been more than entertainment. For many children, it is a way to earn money, support the family, gain discipline, and create a future when the future does not offer many doors. Buakaw began fighting around the age of 8. At 8 years old, most children are learning how to play. Buakaw was learning how to take pain, stay calm, kick through exhaustion, and walk into a ring knowing that fear could not make decisions for him. And that is where the legend begins, not in Tokyo, not in front of the cameras, not under the bright lights of international kickboxing. The legend begins in small rings, with small crowds, in places where nobody outside Thailand was watching. His ring name, Buakaw, means White Lotus. And that name became almost prophetic because the lotus is a flower that rises from muddy water. It pushes through the dirt, reaches the surface, and then it blooms. That is Buakaw's story. He did not come from a clean, easy path. He came from struggle, repetition, and discipline. That was not motivational. It was necessary. From a very young age, fighting was connected to survival, and when a fighter learns that early, something changes. Training is not optional, pain is not surprising, discipline is not a quote, it is life. That is why Buakaw's energy in the ring always felt different. There was intensity, there was hunger, there was a calm violence in the way he moved forward. He did not fight like someone trying to look dangerous. He fought like someone who had been built by hardship. But the boy from Surin still needed a place that could shape him into a weapon. And that place was Por Pramuk Gym. Por Pramuk, the making of a weapon. For many years, the world did not know him as Buakaw Banchamek. The world knew him as Buakaw Por Pramuk. That name came from Por Pramuk Gym, the camp where he would spend a major part of his career and where the international version of Buakaw was built. He joined Por Pramuk as a young fighter, and there he entered the system that has created so many Thai champions. A system of repetition, running, kicking, clinch work, pad work, sparring, more running, more kicks, more knees, more pain, and then the same thing again the next day. This is the part of Muay Thai that many people admire from the outside, but do not fully understand. Thai fighters are not built by one inspiring moment. They are built by thousands of ordinary days. Days where nobody is clapping, days where the body hurts, days where there is no dramatic music, days where discipline is simply expected. At Por Pramuk, Buakaw began to collect important titles and build his reputation inside Thailand. Before he became a global superstar, he had already become dangerous in the Thai scene. He won titles at Omnoi Stadium, he gained tournament experience, and in 2002, he won the Toyota Marathon Tournament at Lumpini Stadium, one of the most respected fighting arenas in Thailand. That detail is important because Buakaw was not created by K1. K1 introduced him to the world, but Thailand had already created the fighter. By the time international fans discovered him, the foundation was already there. The kicks, the knees, the conditioning, the toughness, the balance, the rhythm, the pressure, and the ability to stay composed in violence. Buakaw had already gone through years of the Thai system before the world ever paid attention. And that is one of the reasons his rise felt so explosive. To some people, he came out of nowhere, but legends never really come out of nowhere. They come from years that nobody saw, from mornings when the world was asleep, from pain that never made headlines, and from repetition so deep that by the time spotlight arrives, the fighter looks inevitable. And that is what happened with Buakaw. He was being built quietly, but soon quiet would not be possible anymore because in 2004 he walked into Japan and everything changed. K1 2004, the night Muay Thai took over Japan. In the early 2000s, K1 World Max was one of the biggest stages in kickboxing. Japan was the center of that world. The crowds were massive, the production was dramatic, the fighters were elite, and the tournament format was brutal. You could not just beat one man, you had to survive a night. You had to fight, recover, adjust, and fight again. The date was July 7, 2004 at Yoyogi National Stadium in Tokyo, Japan. Buakaw entered that world as a relatively unknown Thai fighter to many international fans. But by the end of the tournament, nobody could ignore him. K1 World Max 2004 became the night Buakaw announced himself to the world. He defeated John Wayne Parr, he defeated Takayuki Kohiruimaki, and in the final he faced Masato. Masato was not just another fighter, he was a Japanese superstar, a K1 icon, a national hero, and a fighter with charisma, skill, speed, boxing, and the support of the crowd. For Buakaw, this was more than a final. It was a moment of cultural collision. Japan's kickboxing superstar against a Muay Thai fighter from Thailand. The Polish hero against the outsider. The favorite against the man many people had not fully understood yet. And then the fight began. Buakaw did not fight like a visitor. He fought like a storm. His kicks landed with authority. His pressure broke rhythm. His knees and body attacks made the fight feel uncomfortable. He was calm but violent, patient but relentless. And as the rounds passed, the world started to understand. This was not a lucky run. This was not a surprise anymore. This was Muay Thai entering the global kickboxing stage and demanding respect. Buakaw defeated Masato by unanimous decision after an extension round and became the 2004 K1 World Max Champion. That night, he did not just win a tournament. He changed the way many international fans looked at Muay Thai. Because Buakaw showed something powerful. Muay Thai was not just tradition, it was not just stadium culture, it was not just something beautiful from Thailand. It was a weapon system that could dominate on the world stage. And the way he did it mattered. He did not need to talk, he did not need to act, he did not need to sell an image. His fighting was the image. The left kick, the pressure, the conditioning, the stare, the way he marched forward like pain was part of the plan. In 2004, Buakaw became a global star, but becoming a star creates a new problem. Now everyone studies you, everyone wants revenge, everyone wants to be the man who stops the legend before it grows too big. And that is where Buakaw entered one of the greatest eras of K1 Max, an era of rivalries, Masato, Andy Souwer, Yoshihiro Sato, and some of the best kickboxers in the world. Rivalries, Masato, Souwer, and the golden era of K1. One of the reasons Buakaw's story is so powerful is that he was not undefeated. He was not a perfect myth. He was a fighter who rose, lost, adjusted, returned, and kept going. After 2004, Buakaw was no longer the unknown Thai fighter. He was the man everyone wanted to solve. And in K1, two rivalries became especially important: Masato and Andy Souwer. Masato represented Japan. He had the star power, the boxing, the speed, the popularity, and the pressure of being the face of K1 Max. Buakaw had beaten him in 2004, but the rivalry did not end there. Years later, Masato would defeat Buakaw, giving their story another layer. This mattered because it showed that K1 was not easy for Buakaw. He was not walking through ordinary opponents. He was facing elite kickboxers on the rules that did not fully allow all the weapons of traditional Muay Thai. In Thailand, the clinch can be a battlefield. Knees can break a fighter's body and posture. Control inside can drain the opponent's soul. But in K1, clinching was limited, and over time the rules became even more restrictive around the clinch. Many fans believe Buakaw's success forced K1 to rethink how much Muay Thai clinching and knees would be allowed. Whether you see it as a strategy, politics, or evolution, one thing is clear. Buakaw was so effective that the system around him had to pay attention. Then came Andy Souwer. If Masato was the Japanese superstar, Souwer was one of Buakaw's greatest technical rivals. Fast, smart, experienced, and dangerous. In 2005, Andy Souwer defeated Buakaw in the K1 World Max Final after extra rounds. That loss did not weaken Buakaw's story. It gave him the chance to prove something deeper. He could lose, adjust, and become dangerous again. On June 30, 2006, at Yokohama Arena in Japan, Buakaw got his revenge against Andy Souwer and became a two-time K1 World Max Champion. This time there was no doubt. Buakaw stopped Souwer by knockout in the second round. That moment became one of the most important in his career. It was not just a second title, it was revenge, it was correction, it was proof that Buakaw could come back stronger. But Masato and Souwer were not the only men who tested him. In 2008, Yoshihiro Sato gave Buakaw one of the hardest moments of his K1 career, stopping him by knockout in the third round. That loss showed that even Buakaw, with all his pressure, conditioning, and experience, was not untouchable. But that is what made his story more human. Buakaw's rivalries did not weaken his legacy. They made it deeper. He was not untouchable. He was not unbeatable. But he was extremely hard to break. And every time the world found a crack, he found another version of himself. That is Rouge mindset, not the fantasy that you will never fall, but the discipline to become dangerous again after you do. The style, pressure, pain, and the left kick. To understand why Buakaw became so loved, you have to understand how he fought. Because Buakaw did not just win fights, he made people feel them. His style was physical, explosive, direct, but also intelligent. He had one of the most famous left kicks in combat sports. Fast, heavy, sharp, A kick that could land to the body, the arms, the ribs, the guard again and again until the opponent's balance started to disappear. In Muay Thai, a kick does not need to knock you out to hurt you. Sometimes it breaks your rhythm. Sometimes it deadens your arm. Sometimes it damages your body slowly. Sometimes it makes you afraid to step in. And Buakaw understood that perfectly. His kicks were not random. They were messages. Every time his shin landed, it told the opponent, "You are not comfortable here. You do not control this space. You will pay every time you stand in front of me." But Buakaw was not only a kicker. He had strong knees, heavy low kicks, brutal conditioning, explosive entries, and over time, he improved his boxing to survive and dominate under K1 rules. That adaptation is one of the most underrated parts of his career. A pure Muay Thai fighter cannot enter a kickboxing world and expect everything to work the same way. The rhythm is different. The scoring is different. The clinch is different. The breaks are different. The boxing exchanges are different. So Buakaw had to evolve. He had to keep the soul of Muay Thai while sharpening the weapons that K1 demanded. His hands became faster, his combinations became more direct, his pressure became better suited for kickboxing. But he never lost the identity of a Thai fighter. That was the beauty of Buakaw. He adapted without disappearing. He changed without forgetting who he was. And that is hard because many fighters, when they move into a different rule set, lose the thing that made them special. Buakaw did not. He carried Thailand with him in the way he kicked, in the way he kneed, in the way he stayed balanced, and in the way he walked forward without panic. And there was something psychological about his style. Buakaw did not only attack the body, he attacked confidence. He made opponents feel that they were always a step behind. If they moved forward, they got kicked. If they waited, he pressured. If they tried to box, he disrupted their rhythm. If they became emotional, he stayed cold. That is what made him so dangerous. He was not just trying to land strikes. He was trying to take away the opponent's belief. And once a fighter loses belief, the body follows. That is why Buakaw became more than a highlight fighter. He became a symbol of Muay Thai pressure. The kind of pressure that does not always look wild. Sometimes it looks calm. Sometimes it looks patient. Sometimes it looks like a man walking forward with the certainty that eventually the other person will break. But outside the ring, Buakaw would face a different kind of fight. A fight that had nothing to do with kicks, knees, or titles. A fight for his own name. The name war, living Por Pramuk. For years, the world knew him as Buakaw Por Pramuk. That name was attached to his greatest international rise, K1 2004, K1 2006, the global spotlight, and the image of the Thai destroyer in Japan. But behind the image, things became complicated. In March 2012, the news shocked Thailand. Buakaw had left Por Pramuk Gym. Reports described a dispute involving management and financial issues. Thai media covered the story heavily. At one point, Buakaw even announced his retirement during the conflict. For fans, it was shocking. How could one of the biggest Muay Thai stars in the world suddenly step away? But for Buakaw, this was not just about fighting. It was about control, identity, respect, and ownership. For the first time, his biggest battle was not against Masato, not against Sauer, not against another champion. It was against the system around him. And this is one of the most important chapters in his story, because fighters are often celebrated for what they do inside the ring. But sometimes their hardest fights happen outside of it. Contracts, money, gyms, promoters, names, rights, control. A fighter can be famous and still not feel free. A fighter can be loved by millions and still feel trapped by the machine that helped build him. That is the darker side of combat sports. And Buakaw lived it. For years, his identity was connected to Por Pramuk, but after the split, he renamed under his family name, Banchamek, Buakaw Banchamek. That change was more than branding. It was a rebirth. It was a statement. He was no longer only the fighter of a camp. He was the owner of his own story. And then he built Banchamek Gym. That is powerful because the same boy who once came from rural Surin, who entered the fight game as a child, who rose through the Thai system, who became a global star under another name, eventually created a space under his own family name. That is not just career evolution, that is identity evolution. Sometimes becoming great is not enough. You also have to become free, because if you do not control your identity, someone else can control your story. Buakaw's split from Por Pramuk could have damaged him. It could have ended the global version of his career. It could have turned him into a memory from the K1 era. But instead, he reinvented himself. He returned. He kept fighting. He kept training. He kept representing Thailand. And the name Banchamek became powerful in its own right. Not because it erased the past, but because it proved he could survive beyond it. That is what legends do. They do not stay trapped in one chapter. They write another one. Banchamek, the legend who refused to fade. Most fighters have a prime, a window, a few years where everything comes together. The body is fast, the reflexes are sharp, the timing is perfect, the hunger is still alive. But then time comes, and time is undefeated. It slows the legs, it changes recovery, it makes every camp harder, it makes every young opponent more dangerous. But Buakaw did something rare. He became a legend and refused to disappear. After the K1 years and the Por Pramuk conflict, he continued competing, performing, teaching, and representing Muay Thai around the world. He fought in Thai fights. He appeared in special events. He trained fighters. He built his gym. He became a media figure and a cultural ambassador. He became one of the faces people around the world associate with Muay Thai. And even in the later chapters of his career, controversy followed him. On October 11, 2014, in Pattaya, Thailand, Buakaw faced Enrico Kell in the K1 World Max Final. After 3 rounds, the fight was declared a draw and was supposed to go an extension round. But Buakaw did not continue. Kell was declared the winner, and the moment became one of the most controversial endings connected to Buakaw's later career. It was another reminder that his story was never simple. Even as a legend, Buakaw kept living through pressure, criticism, complicated decisions, and public attention. He had become a public figure, a businessman, a trainer, and a cultural ambassador. For many people outside Thailand, Buakaw was the first fighter who made them search what Muay Thai really was. That is not easy because staying famous is different from staying relevant. Many fighters are remembered for one era. Buakaw connected multiple eras. He was a stadium-trained Thai fighter, then a K1 superstar, then an independent brand, then an ambassador, then a veteran still capable of drawing attention decades after his first fights. That kind of longevity does not happen by accident. It requires discipline, adaptation, intelligence, and a deep understanding of who you are. Buakaw's legacy is not only about titles. It is about transformation. From Sombat Banchamek to Buakaw, from Surin to Japan, from Por Pramuk to Banchamek, from fighter to global icon, from child fighter to symbol of Muay Thai. That is why his story matters. Buakaw did not just show the world what Muay Thai looked like. He showed what Muay Thai creates. Discipline, pain tolerance, calm under pressure, respect, strength, identity. A body built by thousands of rounds, a mind built by years of repetition, and a spirit that refused to let circumstances define the final chapter. Some fighters are remembered because they won. Buakaw is remembered because he became impossible to erase. The legacy of the White Lotus. Buakaw Banchamek did not just win fights. He carried a country's fighting art across the world. He showed millions of people that Muay Thai was not just brutal. It was intelligent, it was rhythm, it was timing, it was pain turned into discipline, and culture turned into combat. He came from rural Thailand. He started fighting as a child. He rose through the Thai system. He walked into Japan and changed the way the world saw Muay Thai. He faced rivals who tested him. He lost, he came back. He fought for his identity, he rebuilt his name, and he became more than a champion. He became the White Lotus, a symbol of something beautiful rising from hardship. And maybe that is the deepest lesson of Buakaw's story. The lotus does not rise because the water is clean, it rises through the mud. Buakaw did not become great because his path was easy. He became great because hardship shaped him without destroying him. He carried his roots with him, and when the system tried to define him, he chose to define himself. Buakaw Banchamek is not only a Muay Thai icon, he is proof that where you start does not have to limit how far your name can travel. This was Rouge Mindset. If this story inspired you, subscribe for more stories about the mindset behind the fighters. Dominate your mind!